Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. I'm super excited to talk about a retro game that I absolutely love from my childhood that I could never beat because I could never get out of the first area. I'm going to be talking about one of the weirdest games on the Super Nintendo, possibly one of the weirdest tie-in type games, but it's not really because it's not based on a movie. But I guess it shouldn't be a surprise since we got stuff like Shaq Fu. I'm talking about Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City for the Super Nintendo. If you didn't know, there is a video game on the Super Nintendo where you play as Michael Jordan in this kind of surreal version of Chicago, where before a Scottie Pippen charity game, his teammates get abducted by this mad scientist doctor and they get taken away, and you have to play as Michael Jordan and throw basketballs at basketball zombies and robots and all sorts of mutant people. It's absolutely bizarre and it's really good at the same time. So I wanted to talk about this game because I finally booted it up on my Retroid and I played through it, and man, is this game fun. This game is really cool. Despite being a pretty weird premise, it's very charming because it's a platformer on the Super Nintendo. I feel like it works much better than you would think it would otherwise. This could never work any other time. But since platformers were such a big thing on the Super Nintendo, and because a lot of developers were getting really good at it, Electronic Arts said, you know what, let's do a platformer with Michael Jordan and do a bunch of crazy stuff with it. And they delivered in a very fun way. This game is a ton of fun. It's very interesting. It's a little bit hard at times. It can be really punishing, but if you know your way around the mechanics of the game, it gets a lot easier. So you play as Michael Jordan. Like I said before, you're trying to save your captive teammates, and you're trying to beat, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's Dr. Cranium. This little short dude that's just trapping all these people, doing all these scientific experiments on these people and animals and robots and everything to make them like superior basketball players. I don't know. It's baffling. It's weird. You don't need to worry too much about the plot. It's more about the gameplay. So you have Michael Jordan as your character, and you get to throw basketballs. Your main weapon is a basketball that you dribble around. The animation is actually incredibly smooth. It looks really nice. There's different variations of things you can do. If you just jump straight up in the air, he's holding the ball. But if you are like moving while you jump, he does different things. If you hold, there's a different jump button based on if you're going for like a dunk versus if you're just jumping in the air. So if you press, I believe it's, oh man, the top of the controller, I always forget, is X up here. If you're pressing X, you jump up and he'll hold his hand up like doing the Michael Jordan thing, like the Michael Jordan symbol on all the Air Jordans. He does that. He'll do if you're running forward, he'll do a side dunk. There are tons of different animations for his dunking, and you'll have basketball hoops all around these areas that if you dunk on them, you can find stuff like keys for different cells, or you can find just little basketball coins that give you points for the area. They might give you health power-ups in the form of Gatorades and Wheaties boxes, which look absolutely nothing like those things, by the way. If you look at it, looks like a little green alien eye for the Gatorade. It's hilarious. I love it. I think it's so perfect. But you have the main basketball as your weapon. You chuck them. You have infinite basketballs. You can just throw them over and over again at these enemies. But you can also get special variants of these basketballs. You can get one that's silver, that it'll go like a boomerang back to you. So you can hit enemies that can block from the front, or you can pick up items like the keys, like I mentioned before. If you get a key ring, you can open locked silver doors if it's the silver keys, or gold for the gold. They're like little locks for the green and red and gold for other things to activate mechanisms or open doors. You can pick those up with these special balls that travel through things. You have purple ones that will bounce off of walls. You'll have fire ones that do more damage to enemies, so you can kill them faster. You have golden balls that will home in on the enemies, which is really super useful. You have a bowling ball that you can drop to hit enemies that are really low to the ground that you can't even hit while you're crouching and shooting, throwing basketballs at. The only way to hit them otherwise is to do a dunk and throw the basketball straight downward, which is an option. It's kind of cool. You have other things like a smoking basketball that will do an eruption if you throw it on the ground, which blows up pretty much everything in the area. Those are super valuable. I'm trying to think if there are any other ones off the top of my head. I can't think of any. I may have missed one. If so, I'll show some footage. You can see all of them demonstrated here. I've been capturing footage of my gameplay throughout my playthrough of this because I've tried to be more proactive with that, especially when I play these retro games, so you can see these old games and what they look like and kind of see if it's for you if you want to go try it out. But the platforming is pretty darn solid. If you're not aware of it, like I wasn't, you can hold down the L button to run around with Michael. He goes really, really fast. He jumps very high because he is, Michael Jordan. He is the jump guy, which is really cool. I like that they implemented that into the gameplay. It feels very true to form. He's pretty quick. He can jump very, very high. But if you hold the run button, you get a lot more speed, and you do like somersaulting flips in the air, and you go much higher as well. I didn't realize this until I was looking up, trying to figure out where all the captives were, because some of them are a little bit tricky. They're behind locked doors, and some of them are hidden away. You have to use special things. Oh, I missed one, the ice ball. There we go. That's another one where you can freeze enemies, and you can actually stand on platform. Like, they become platforms you can stand on. Some of them are like hidden behind little spots that you wouldn't think to go, but if you freeze an enemy and jump on top of it, you can go into a little alcove. There's the captive. So I was looking that up, and I saw that people were running and doing like speed runs of this game. Didn't realize there's a speed running community. Looks pretty darn hard. I would like to get into it. It sounds very fun. But you can jump extra high as long as you're building up that speed, as long as you have that momentum going forward. You cannot like do a high jump like that. If you like reverse your moment, like if you're going right, you have to keep traveling right to get the high jump. If you double back and then jump, you lose your momentum and you don't get to do that. It's a nice learning curve here. The platforming can be very punishing. If there's just a hole in the ground and you miss your jump, you just die. Fortunately, there are lots of ways to get extra 1-ups. You can find little golden 23 is number for his jersey. If you pick those up, it gives you an extra life, or if you get enough coins, you get extra lives. There's lots of ways to do that. So the first area you have is like holding cells. It's like a weird, creepy prison. You mostly see the basketball zombies here. They're pretty lumbering and slow, or you have like mechanical spiders that you fight. And getting through the area, you'll find different types of keys to unlock different doors. You'll find your captives, or you'll find bonus rooms where you can do little mini games to get extra points or extra balls. You can only store a certain number of each extra special type of ball. So the silver balls and stuff, they only go up to a certain number. The smoking basketballs, you can hold up to 9 and like keep stockpiling them over time. The other ones just give you a set amount each time. You can't build them up over a certain point. They always give you that same amount, which is kind of nice. I like that kind of consistency. If you feel like you've used up a ball, you probably have an opportunity to get them back soon, so you don't have to be really sparing. I'm always sparing with my resources, even in games like this, so I've been trying to do it a little bit more, and I found a lot more success and a lot more fun too. The purple balls that explode and bounce off walls are really useful for getting under platforms that you can't get under yourself, but there's a little gap and it'll hit a switch. It's very cool how you can utilize different balls to maneuver throughout the environments. First area is fairly basic. Once you get to the end, you have a boss fight. And then you move on to a new area. You get the Chicago map, and you can go on different trains. You can go one of two directions, take the L train 1 or 2, and you have like reporters coming after you trying to take pictures of you. If they get too close and they take a picture of you, it blinds you for a second. You can get hit by beams. You can run on top of the train or in the actual the train cars themselves. You're just taking out reporters. It's a fun little section. You can get extra of the special balls or get more points. Just a fun little distraction there to get to the next area. You have other things like a factory. You have a carnival at the end. You have another area that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but there are 4 major areas in the game, and they're all pretty fun. They have a nice theme. The difficulty definitely ramps up as you go along. The factory is very punishing. There are several points where you can just die, collapsing platforms that fall into like lava or acid. You have other things like at the carnival, the same kind of thing. You have like flowing current of water, and if you get pushed off a platform, you just die. There's lots of ways you can die in this game, and it is pretty difficult, but I think it's rewarding enough, and it gets you back into the game fast enough that it doesn't feel like much of a distraction, and it felt like a really good amount of challenge. I remember as a kid, I thought this game was just a little bit too hard, and I couldn't figure out the platforming. It was just a little finicky for me. I just hadn't gotten a grip around the controls, and I'd never given myself enough time. So if you find yourself in that camp, if you try out this game and it's a little bit difficult at first, or a little like finicky with the controls, give it a little bit, get used to it, move around a lot. It's very, very fun, and it's worth your time to get to the end and to find all the captives. Finding the captives is half the fun. There are 21 in total, and getting all of them is a nice little reward. So the game is really awesome. I love each area. I love the boss that they implement in it. I think the dialogue is very funny. It's actually pretty well written, especially when you talk to the captives. They'll give you advice and stuff. You can find like special things like golden hearts. Sometimes the captives will tell you there's a special golden heart hidden in the next level. And they will give you an extra heart container for your health, which is very crucial for the later levels, especially because you can lose health to stuff like spikes really, really fast. It's just a really good time for a game based on Michael Jordan. After he retires, going to a charity game and then has to fight like zombie basketball dudes. It's surprisingly awesome. It's like a really, really good game. EA did a fantastic job at putting this one together. It's just so baffling that this good a game came out of a Michael Jordan random celebrity cameo thing. It's just bizarre that it even came to pass. Definitely better than the likes of something like Shaq Fu, although I actually think Shaq Fu is very fun. It's so wacky and weird. But I do love this game. Michael Jordan is my favorite player. I don't think you can see here, but I'm actually wearing my Bulls sweater. I'm a diehard Bulls fan ever since I was a little kid. Just because I loved Michael Jordan, I'd see like highlights of him. I thought he was so fantastic. So this game obviously appealed to me when I was a little kid, and it's still fun to this day. So if you want to give it a try, I'm going to be giving Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City a gold rank. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.